In some election news, Republicans are trying to stop the votes of US citizens living abroad, including members of our military. But judges in 2 key swing states, they're absolutely not having it. And I'll explain, right? So to start off, let's go to Michigan, where the RNC filed a lawsuit arguing against the eligibility of overseas voters who they say don't meet the residency requirements laid out in the state's constitution. And they filed this lawsuit despite the fact that Michigan has allowed citizens and service members living abroad to vote in federal elections for years, which is what led to Judge Seema Patel dismissing the case yesterday, saying simply the guidance language lines up with state and federal laws as well as the Michigan Constitution, and then adding in her opinion that this lawsuit is a, quote, 11th hour attempt to disenfranchise these electors in the November 5th, 2024 general election. And then in North Carolina, you had a situation where the RNC also requested a court order for the return ballots of some overseas voters to be set aside and not counted until their eligibility was confirmed. And on top of that, they also pushed against North Carolina's election rules that allow absentee voting by citizens born outside the US whose parents used to live in the state. And there we saw Superior Court Judge John Smith also shooting them down. Also, if you're wondering why are Republicans all of a sudden interested in disenfranchising voters overseas, it appears that it could be due to the fact that overseas voting demographics, they've reportedly shifted from mostly military members to mostly civilian expats, which just so happens to be a group that Democrats have reportedly been wooing. And even though overseas ballots reflect only a tiny fraction of the votes, I mean, this election is running so tight that every single vote's gonna count. But follow to stay in the loop.